People once believed that when someone dies, a crow carries their soul to the land of the dead. But sometimes, something so bad happens that a terrible sadness is carried with it, and the soul can't rest. Then sometimes, just sometimes, the crow could bring that soul back to put the wrong things right.
Welcome to the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. Your adventure into the world of comic book movies starts here.
Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes Podcast. My name is Travis.
And I'm Patrick, here with a special guest on today's episode.
Hey, I'm Robin, and guys, I am so excited to talk about The Crown, the Diana season. Oh my God! Talk about Margaret Thatcher. Talk about a real comic hero.
Oh no, something went terribly wrong here.
What?
It's fine. We'll just get started, and you'll catch up. It's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is worse than the time we watched two different Alien movies.
That is something that happened. Yes.
Thanks for having me.
At least, yeah.
Well, this should be interesting. Both lots of makeup involved, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll start there.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, here for The Crow, Sans N.
Oh, I saw that too. That's okay.
Oh,
Okay.
shit.
All right. So yeah, way back in the year 1994.
Yeah,
Ooh.
finally into 94.
We can tell by the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Such
Very
a great.
Hot Topic, gothic-esque.
I love it. I love that soundtrack.
Yeah.
I love this movie. Just spoilers.
Oh man, I am gonna dump all over this thing.
Oh, good. Take your best shot.
Guess we'll start off with kind of everyone's experience with The Crow.
Yeah.
Again, I believe we were all alive at the time of this movie.
Yeah, I'm 26, so
Okay.
I was conceived in the theater when The Crow was playing. So
Okay,
did I do the math right?
that's interesting. Yeah, no, I was winging it. I was like, yeah, he could do math right.
94. I was in my first year of college. I was way into all this music that's plays in this movie. And yeah, I was very emo. I was big into the goth scene, and I mean, I loved Nine Inch Nails and The Cure. And yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where I was like out of the house. It was my first year of like real freedom, and I was doing lots of partying and experimenting. But I mean, not experimenting with anything you see in this movie, fortunately.
Not
No
cutting
morphine?
people's eyeballs out.
No.
Ooh,
Yeah.
another one. Yeah.
It's nothing like a flaming eyeball. I tell you, it goes right down.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bai Ling. Wow.
Oh man.
Yeah. She's got some issues.
Yeah.
It's an interesting family.
I first watched this. I had an older cousin who clued me into The Crow, and so of course with that came, the backstory of the movie. The Brandon Lee of it all. Getting told that someone died while making this movie, and of course this is I was 11 at the time, and he was maybe 14. And so with that explanation came, and you see it in the movie, So for the first couple years of this movie, I always thought, you actually see the when it happens. So it's not far off from what happened, but as a kid, you don't understand that. Of course, they wouldn't use the real footage of Brandon Lee's death, but
Right.
so early on, it was kind of this movie that finding out that someone died making the movie was really a bizarre thing to try to understand. So
Pre-internet, so
yeah, exactly.
it almost had like a myth behind it, like
right,
just like this
right.
weird tale that
Yeah.
you're like, really?
Yeah, so this is one that I watched, fairly regularly. I haven't really watched it much, in several years. So, I've seen it a lot, but it's been a while. But Patrick, what about what's your history with The Crow?
Yeah, it didn't see it in the theater. Definitely was a VHS rental. Like you were saying, that the only other movie I could think of like this was probably the Poltergeist, stories.
Okay.
The little girl that passed away from it, and all the accidents on set and things. But yeah, this one, I think it was more like the first time I sought something out of like morbid curiosity.
Okay.
I guess. But yeah, the soundtrack I remember a lot just because it was very. But I would have been 13 when this came out, so I probably saw it when I was like 13 or 14 or something.
Yeah.
But it definitely has that like Bush, like kind of metal, like industrial kind of vibe to it.
Right.
Like Tool or something, or Nine Inch Nails, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So like the soundtrack was very Nobody Understands Me for me.
Yeah. It's a perfect movie for like teen angst.
Yeah. It's looking at it now, it's very like Mom, you just don't understand kind of vibe to it or something. Like so what if I'm wearing your makeup to make a cool spooky face? I mean, that's kind of the vibe I got this viewing.
Okay.
Back in the day, I thought it was, pretty rough and tough.
Right.
But I forgot like a lot. I probably haven't seen this in, I don't know, at least 10 years.
Okay.
But when I remember first watching it, I remember it definitely like leaving an impression because it was like a pretty heavy subject, I guess. Like
Yeah.
it was pretty intense. Like all the
For
flashbacks and like the visions in his head. So I remember at the time thinking it was just, really cool. But we'll see how I thought about it this time around.
My history with The Crow itself, though, like I'm certain I saw it in the theater. I was really kind of anticipating it all the way up to it. I read the comic. It was just the tragedy of Brandon Lee kind of brought my attention to the whole thing. I remember they did a big profile on the whole accident and Entertainment Weekly, and I think I had that magazine. I don't know. I was super, super hyped for the movie. I had a giant Crow poster on my wall, which is like the classic. Well, it wasn't giant, but it was pretty big. It was a classic cover shot of him walking into the church, but above it, for some reason, the tagline is "Believe in Angels."
Yeah,
which I'm just like, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, I don't quite. I guess is his spoilers for the end of this movie, but is his fiance an angel at the end? And
what's that?
Beyonce.
Is his fiance an angel at the end?
I thought you said, "Is Beyonce an angel?" And I'm like,
of course she's an angel.
Obviously, but what does that have to do with the Crow?
She has a halo, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I always took it as, he becomes an angel at the end because he joins Shelley in the afterlife.
That's what I was trying to...
how I kind of, but you could also like Angel of Death maybe.
Angel of Vengeance.
Yeah. I guess that kind of kicks us into Patrick. You normally hit us with taglines. So did you find any others?
Oh yeah. I did see the Believe in Angels one, which I was immediately, kind of thrown off by, because I was like, angels? I was like, at no point did I think about angels until the very, very end.
Right.
But, yeah, they've got a few. The obvious one from, his single, It Can't Rain All the Time.
Of course.
Yeah. But it does. It rains like through the entire movie.
Oh, yeah. It was right up there with the movie Seven, with the amount of rain in this movie. We've got Nothing is Trivial, which I don't really...
That's a line from the movie.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an odd, like,
Not a very memorable one for me, at least.
yeah.
okay.
That line always stuck out from the movie, but that seems like a weird tagline. That's a weird marketing angle.
Yeah.
It's when he's talking to Ernie Hudson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when he's talking about fleeting life and
Yeah.
all that, yeah.
Trivial little moments are. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that line was apparently trivial to me, so. All right, here we go. We've also got, oh, geez. In a world without justice, one man was chosen to protect the innocent.
Oh my God!
Jeez.
They had an
That-
world tagline for this movie. That's so awesome.
That sounds like a RoboCop tagline. I mean, it's so generic.
Yeah. And then, real love is forever.
Yeah.
I kind of
Which
remember
is
that
kind of
one.
Tagline to the movie itself. Like,
Yeah.
It's just the end.
Yeah.
And then we've got... What? Okay, this is in direct correlation to another movie.
Okay.
Darker Than the Bat.
Yeah, yeah. That's the one I couldn't remember if that was something that really happened. Like, for some reason,
Wow.
that one I remember. I think my cousin had that same poster or another poster on his wall, and I always remember it saying Darker Than the Bat.
Wow.
It's like,
Shots fired.
exactly. We're looking at you, Batman.
I mean, physically darker, yes. It was very dark throughout the movie.
I mean, there's a lot more murder in in The Crow
And,
than in Batman.
A lot more adult-oriented, R rating, you know.
Yep. They could take place in the same city, maybe.
Yeah. Oddly enough, it had like a weird Dick Tracy kind of vibe to me. Like,
Oh,
what?
yeah.
in some of the shots of the city, like at large, where it's insanely weird looking. But
Yeah, because the city is all miniature, which I
Yeah.
didn't realize until watching it this time. I've months ago, iTunes was running a really good deal on a bunch of movies, so I picked up this one for it's like $4.99 for HD whatever, and I knew we'd be watching this soon, so I figured why not get the best looking version that I'll be able to for since it's that cheap. So watching it this time, I that opening shot where you kind of fly over the city, it just really stood out to me. Like, oh, I never realized that they used a miniature city that they constructed to do all those kind of crow flyover sequences. There's a lot of them in the movie, and it's not bad. It just kind of feels like a very stylized, you know. So I kind of understand what you mean about the
yeah,
Tracy
I
vibe.
don't mean it in a bad way. It just gave me that
Yeah,
we're not looking at a real city kind of.
yeah,
like, it's stylized to be a certain way. So
yeah.
Kind of
that's
reminded
what gave
me
me the
of
Dick Tracy vibe.
kind of reminded me of Blade Runner. You know, with the city on fire.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
And
Not
it's
enough color and light,
Right.
but yeah, I could definitely see that.
it was kind of distracting for me this time around because I knew that they filmed this in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is where they do a lot of filming, or at least used to.
Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of the nighttime New York filming was, it was probably a lot of these same buildings and alleyways and stuff like that. So it had the same kind of look and feel of certain scenes of Ninja Turtles for me. So
Yeah, I think they recycled some of the sets.
may have, yeah.
I think I read that
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, I could see that. Even some of I wonder if the pawn shop was
Oh.
was April's
Oh,
junk shop.
possibly, yeah, maybe.
They both blow up
Right, yeah.
conveniently. All right, so yeah, we're flying with the Crow.
Oh, yeah.
You guys check out the comic?
I never have.
Okay.
I didn't even know it was a comic until we started doing this podcast, and it was on our list.
Yeah, it is inspired by James Obar wrote it in '89. It is inspired by when his fiancée was killed by a drunk driver.
Yeah.
And that had to deal with that tragedy. And also, I think he was partially inspired by, there was, I guess, a couple that was murdered over an engagement ring, and he thought how ridiculous that is. You know?
I read that this morning as well. Yeah, it was like a $20 engagement ring that, you know, yeah, I was aware of the James Obar, like what led him to write this story with his fiancée and everything. And it just kind of adds to the mythic nature of the production, you know, with Brandon Lee, and then it's based on a tragedy in James Obar's life, so just kind of it all adds to that almost like curse sort of quality that the movie kind of has, or at least, you know, it's reported to have.
Yeah, I guess he got lots of offers to turn The Crow into something, and I guess one of them was somebody wanted to turn it into a musical starring Michael Jackson.
Yeah. I guess he laughed at the executives on that one. He wanted James Obar wanted Johnny Depp to play the Crow,
right?
Which at that time I could see, like, that would have been okay casting, I think.
What a strange alternate timeline that would have created. Oh man, though. Like if Johnny Depp
where
got killed,
Brandon Lee lived. Yeah. Man.
Oh jeez, yeah. But I could see that because Johnny Depp's big with Burton and the whole.
Oh yeah,
dark gothic
at that point
kind of vibe.
Yeah. I never saw him as an action star though.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, now look at him. He's a pirate.
Yeah. If they wanted him to stumble around and run into people that are shooting at him.
21 Jump Street. Come on.
Yeah. I think this movie would have been perfectly in his wheelhouse at the time.
Maybe. I'd never really seen him do action-y stuff though, you know?
Sure.
I mean, other than the swashbuckling.
I mean, I guess it's just we see the Crow as a kicking and punching kind of guy because it was Brandon Lee, or was that how?
Well,
was
and
the
I
character
think
based martial arts, or
I don't think so. No.
Yeah,
no?
I think it was. I think I read that he made a conscious effort to tone down the martial arts aspect of it, because Eric Draven is not meant to be a martial artist. You know, it's meant to be this guy who has no fighting skills. You know, it's the supernatural aspect of him is just kind of what, you know, I don't know, he's not doing a bunch of roundhouse kicks and flips and stuff. He's just kind of lashing out at people pretty savagely when he does fight, but it's not, you know, a very controlled and measured fighting style, I guess.
I think I always just, in my head, the fight sequence I think of the most is the Tintin one.
Sure.
Where he's, you know, slapping blades and catching them, and
yeah, and when they get physical, it's more just grappling and you know, throwing each other around. So it's not even a real display of like martial arts skills or anything.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why that's the one scene I always think of, but that's the most martial arts style fight he has.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, the big showdown at the end with all the different crime bosses in the room, and he's going under the table and then flipping over the table and grabbing people left and right. That's a lot of martial arts.
Yeah, I think I just think of that as chaos.
Yeah, that feels more like a shootout than a.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's because I think, well, obviously there's a bajillion guns in that scene.
Yeah.
And then, like, he's magically whipping people under the table and stuff. So, I don't know. I think of it more as a boogeyman scene than anything else, I think, in my head. But, yeah, the Tintin one always pops into my head just because it's, you know, cool to me. Yeah. How they know he stuck the blades in alphabetical order, I don't know still, but...
I like that. So many of T-Bird's lines, they're not necessarily quotable, but they just stick out so vividly for me.
Oh God!
Most of like the lines that I can think of or quote in my head are T-Bird lines.
My friends and I used to constantly throw Crow lines back and forth back in the day. I will probably yell them out as we go through.
Well, I know the one that I'm surprised wasn't a tagline was also part of a drinking game, which was, you know, fire it up.
Fire it up.
Yeah.
Fire it up. I thought that would have been a tagline, honestly. But, I mean, that's Hell Night right there.
Yeah. So at the kind of the opening, when it zooms into the crime scene, we meet Ernie Hudson's Albrecht, which it was funny because I kept noting in my notes, I kept referring to him as Albrecht.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize until the credits that they never give him a first name. So I kept waiting to hear what it was for whatever reason, but never realized that they didn't give him a first name. It's weird when they bring Shelley out. The EMTs need to get her, in an ambulance, need to get her to the hospital, and of course there's the asshole guy, the guy in charge, Torres, who is Albrecht's superior, I guess.
Edward James almost.
Almost, yeah. Which I think he was also the asshole cop in Predator 2, maybe.
He does
playing.
Cop.
The exact same role, basically. He has this line about he didn't clear anyone moving Shelley. I don't know that EMTs are supposed to wait for police, orders to move a victim like this. Wouldn't the priority would be to get her, to a hospital? I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing.
A lieutenant or what sergeant, whatever the guy in charge, whatever his rank is, I think so. It's just to show us how big of an asshole this guy is. He's more concerned with getting information from her about this case, which, at no point does it seem like he cares much about finding out about the, who did this. So it's just a little foreshadowing of setting up that character for just being a total prick.
Yeah, if she's dead, sure, don't disturb the crime scene, but
yeah,
if you have to save her life, well, sorry.
Yeah.
I liked Ernie Hudson.
Oh, he's
probably the best thing in this movie to me.
He's the MVP, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
he's great, but MVP of the entire movie? Come on.
Acting wise, I'm going to say yes, because there's a lot of rough acting in this movie that I forgot about.
I was glad that Ernie Hudson does get a spotlight co-starring role, though. That's great.
It's a great role for him.
Yeah. I love the relationship that he has with each of the characters. Sarah and with Eric.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like starting this out with the whole thing with him and Sarah and her being there as Shelley gets taken away, and she understands that Eric's dead and that he has to lie to Shelley, and her line that you lied to Shelley about Eric and you're lying to me. And then just him kind of telling her it's going to be okay and giving her a hug, basically. It starts that relationship that you see in a few minutes later when they're having hot dogs. And it's nice to see that he's still looking after her, a year later, they've become friends. And, it's a solid, it's a brief look at these two characters that, in those few moments, you can tell really care about each other. So
she must get him to trim his mustache too.
That's one of my notes.
Are you serious?
Right now he's
Ernie
got a
Hudson's big old fake mustache. Yeah.
And then later he's got a regular mustache.
But his big fake mustache does reappear later, so I think that's a sign of reshoots or stuff that was filmed post Brandon Lee's death, I think.
Huh.
So I'll mention it later when I noticed it pop up. But yeah, this must have been a later scene.
Okay.
Filmed anyways. So
I do love the. We kind of skip past the opening narration, but I love that this movie establishes its own mythology. This is a thing,
Oh yeah.
And the people, who are distributors worried that people wouldn't get it, and it's just what's the reason for this? There's no reason. Yeah. It just is. The Crow does this. This is how the Crow happens.
Robin, I'm curious if you you're probably aware of the Skull Cowboy character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael Berryman.
Yeah.
Was going to play him. Yeah, I guess they added the narration after they cut this character.
Which makes sense because, Patrick, I don't know if you're aware of the Skull
Not
Cowboy.
a clue.
It was this character that it was a character that they were going to have in the movie that was going to be Eric's, his guide, basically.
Okay.
He was also, I don't know, this undead kind of mentor, kind of like just his guide and explaining like you're back here on Earth to right the wrongs and that sort of thing, and
Like that weird cowboy in Spawn.
kind of
Whatever that guy is.
Yeah, kind of the same character, basically, just a mentor who explains why he's here, explains that he has abilities and powers and that sort of thing. So
it's also oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say he's also like as a warning, like he is kind of stuck in limbo because he might have gotten some sort of crow abilities and he didn't follow the rules, and now he's just kind of stuck guiding anybody else, just to kind of warn them, like, hey, if you kill the bad guys, you can reunite with Shelley. But the other thing was, if you help the living, you become vulnerable, which was like a huge rule in this movie that was completely cut.
Yeah, so it is nice that when they cut the character, and I do feel like the character is probably unnecessary, but I think it's they didn't think that audiences were going to understand what the rules were, and that the crow brings him back to life, and because of that, he has some powers, and he can be healed of any wound until his mission is accomplished. So, I think the Skull Cowboy does come from the comics, so it's not like it was created for the movie just for audiences, but it's nice that they have enough faith in that opening bit of dialogue about the crow bringing someone back, and then just the nature of the crow guiding him. I'm glad that that's enough to explain that the crow is his guide, and as long as the crow lives and his mission is still ongoing, that's why he still has his abilities. So
it did make me laugh that the first order of business was to find a pair of boots in a dumpster for him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, interesting.
His feet are vulnerable. That's the reason.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time. Like, why does the crow care if he has boots on?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's funny.
First order of business.
It's just a weird priority. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're just my size. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm shirtless in the rain, freezing for some reason. I guess that was the other thing. I was surprised he was cold. Like for some reason, I had a mental block on that, and I thought he really didn't feel much other than emotion.
Sure.
And that's probably because of all the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I was remembering him feeling something.
I really dig that scene. Like, he's climbing out of the grave and he's just being nailed with all the pain and misery, just like realizing what happened, where he is, and the rain pouring down. And it does look like he's cold, but also I think it's just like he's just so consumed with misery.
It's like a raw nerve exposed kind of thing.
I almost think of this as like this is actual Eric Draven, like waking up before, like he's not really the crow. He's not like infused with the crow until he puts that makeup on.
Right.
I feel like this is him just figuring it all out.
I watched this video on YouTube, just kind of looking into some of the behind the scenes stuff, and it was talking about all the events leading up to his untimely death and everything. And I guess Brandon Lee wanted to really get into what it would be like to be this undead kind of character. So he took ice baths before filming, just he wanted to get as cold as possible to do some of these scenes. Like, just to feel what it would be like to be a corpse, I guess. Like, just get into that mindset of just being freezing cold. So that's just a little bit of, how I guess how serious or how far Brandon Lee wanted to kind of go with the performing or preparing for filming and stuff.
It's kind of spooky. I mean, it lends to the legend of this whole thing. I
Right.
read that he got like obsessed with like death. You know,
Yeah.
He's reading a lot about death and poetry and stuff.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I never realized until doing the kind of looking into things for this. I never realized that it was Michael Massey on set that fires the gun.
Yeah.
Michael Massey is the actor that plays Fun Boy. I always just would have assumed that you see him and the guy that plays T-Bird like firing guns, for their shots, but I would have thought that the actual firing would have been, the prop master or as a close up. I wouldn't have thought that they would have had the actual actor. I don't know. Maybe I guess that makes sense. But
Well,
I went through a deep dive on Inside Edition. With
yeah.
I guess the prop master was sent home early. This whole scheduling and shooting was a disaster because other people got hurt too.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah.
So I think it was just negligence on the filmmaking process that kind of led to where this ended up. Because there's still no clear. Obviously, there was a real bullet or a piece of a real bullet.
Yeah.
It was a piece
still
of
in the chamber.
Yeah. It was a piece of a blank that got lodged in the barrel, and so when they put a new blank in behind
it was a dummy. It was a dummy bullet. It was one that was supposed to show a bullet being fired, but not actually didn't have any gunpowder in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they just loaded it up with a blank afterwards, and not realizing that dummy casing got kind of lodged in the chamber.
I guess I didn't understand the difference between a dummy bullet or a blank.
I think the blank is for, I don't know, there's more effect with the dummy bullet. You see something firing out of the gun, but I don't quite
I think
understand.
the blank is just a cartridge that has the gunpowder, but no projectile.
It's the noise and the flash.
You get the noise and the flash, and then I don't know why you would use a dummy bullet then. Like, what do you? You're not gonna film. You're not filming at such a rate of speed that you're gonna see a bullet coming out of the barrel. Like,
that's what they were saying. Is there was no reason for a .45 slug to be on the set.
Yeah. The whole thing. It just seems like it comes down to negligence and. Why there's so many guns being fired in this movie. You wouldn't you check? What, or does I don't know, when you fire, does it really need to be aimed at the actor? I don't know. It's just there's so much stuff like that you can.
Well, I think it was that shot where they very happily I cut it, obviously, what it was originally. I guess when he came in, Fun Boy turns around and shoots him right in the door.
Yeah.
But they changed it, obviously, to T-Bird throwing the knife. So I think that's what happened. You were supposed to get the point of view over the shoulder, or seeing him walk in the door, and then you see them whirl around and shoot him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The other, again, this whole thing is just it needs its own show or something. But,
yeah.
I guess Bruce Lee famously passed away from brain swelling or something like that.
Yeah.
Something very bizarre. But his last movie, Game of Death, had a scene where he was a movie star. Actors were shooting guns, but there was an assassin with a real bullet.
Oh.
In that movie, and it's just creepy how things tied together in reality for Brandon. It's just stuff like that. It's just so unreal.
Yeah.
That his son would die in a eerily similar fashion as a movie that he made. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
I really got deeply into that, in the 90s.
Sure.
And and actually in 2002, I went and visited my brother in Seattle, and actually went to the father and son grave there. It's very, very beautiful. I guess they didn't. They were considering putting Kurt Cobain in that same graveyard, but so many people have visit that graveyard to see the Brandon and Bruce's graves that they were like, no, we have enough tourists coming through here.
Wow.
So,
like I said, I went through a deep dive on Inside Edition. So
yeah.
I did see the Massey. What was it, Michael Massey?
Yeah.
The person that shot. He did some interview in like 2005, and it sounds like he's very into, for obvious reasons, safety on set.
Sure.
And like, it's just crazy that he's able to still continue in the industry. I think.
Yeah, I mean, he goes passion, on. He plays a bad guy in many different things I've watched. I mean, 24.
I remember him from 24.
Alias, different things like that. Yeah, but I guess he took a complete year off. He was completely traumatized after it.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think he passed away a few years ago.
Yeah. Unimaginable.
Yeah.
But I think it's still crazy that this movie came out. Like,
right.
The only other instance I can think of is Paul Walker in the Fast and the Furious movies, where somebody's like still in the movie even though it was still filming when they died, kind of scenario.
So I read the other day that that Brandon's scenes were about 90% complete. I don't know if that's totally accurate, but he was nearly done filming, and so the few scenes that they had remaining, they used, like the scene where he reappears to talk to Sarah, when she's the whole, can't rain all the time, and he's up in the loft with her. Like, that's, you never see his face in that sequence. So, I believe that's what his double. And then so a few times in the movie when they show his face, they actually used early, digital processes to put Brandon's face on the double. I think here in the kind of the makeup section, when he's putting on the crow makeup for the first time, they add his reflection in the mirror, but most of that stuff is done by the double. And then when he walks up to the window and the lightning flashes, I think that's the composited like face on the double. So there's stuff like that they were able to do to finish the movie. But I
mean, the makeup helps.
It does,
obviously.
yeah. But I don't think there's any big long cuts of the double with the fake like face on or anything like that in the movie. I think it's mostly use shadow and stuff like that. So
I guess back to the movie at large. I forgot how fast it really just gets into the revenge.
That was one of my notes too, because it's like
I was like, oh man, we're not wasting time. I like this.
It's like 12 minutes in when he crawls out of the grave, and it's like 15 minutes when he's having the flashbacks in the loft, and then starts the putting on the makeup montage. Which,
gosh, I love
that's
that
one
so
of those like, I do too. It's you just want to. If you just want to feel a little emo for a little while, like pull up, Burned by The Cure and listen to that, or like watch this scene kind of because it feels kind of like a music video. And that's just one of those moments that it is great to watch.
When the music ramps up and then he punches the mirror, right as the song really kicks in, it's like, and they must have. I think they made that for the movie because like one of the lyrics is, dreaming crow-like dreams. Also, just paint your face in shadow, smile. It was just cool. I mean, it was cool definitely for James Obar also, who put Cure lyrics in the comic himself. So he was a huge fan. I think the character is meant to look like Robert Smith even.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? I always like the shot of him swinging out the window.
Oh, so cool.
And then, you get the hands, like him kind of figuring out what he is, sort of. Handles it pretty well. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But
I always thought that was just a cool looking scene.
Yeah. Did you see I'll just say it. I guess Brandon and director Alex Proyas didn't really like how the makeup looked putting it on, and Brandon actually figured out that if he slept in the makeup and then filmed the next day, like it just had a better effect.
Interesting.
Yeah, like a worn kind of look.
Yeah, It's not just looking like
because I did notice that it's very faded. Like it's not like fresh looking.
Yeah.
Well, I like at the start of it, it's basically, I like that you can tell he put it on once and he never reapplied it. Like at the start, it's crisp and white and very solid and everything. But by the end of it, fighting in the rain by the cemetery, it's almost gone. So I like that they don't bother to try to make him always have it, solid and perfect looking. So I like that it's a gradual progression of it fading away.
Man, that had to be horrible to sleep in.
Yeah. I thought it's if you think about it too hard, it's a little weird that when he gets back to his apartment, Gabriel the cat is perfectly alive and healthy, and they do have a moment later where they show the crow, the actual physical bird crow, eating a cockroach. So I guess it's like, that's probably what Gabriel's been living off of for a year. But
believe in cat angels.
Yeah.
Ooh, what if that's Shelley?
But I guess tied into that, when he first picks up Gabriel, I love the usage of like him touching objects and getting those memories. Yeah. It happens with Gabriel, it happens with the engagement ring and various other things, and of course with when he talks to Albrecht. But I love that concept of him getting memories just by touching something.
And getting affected by it too, wincing, almost in pain,
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the scene in the pawn shop with the rings.
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah.
When he's trying to find the right one. I thought that was a good way to use that.
Yeah.
With his eyes
and
closed.
see, it's stuff like that it works so well to explain the supernatural, I guess, abilities of this character, that you don't need then a guide character to explain everything for exposition, because I think the audience would understands perfectly that, okay, this thing has a memory, and that's how he does basically his detective work, Here in this still flashback kind of memory, finding out what happened and everything, it's the home invasion kind of flashback aspect of it. It's so terrifying and well done. Like, it's a horrible thing that like happens to Shelley, the rape and everything, and the idea that he comes home to that and then is rendered helpless, like right off the bat. Right. Tintin hits him with a knife and he goes down, and it's just he can't fight these guys off. It's so so scary and everything, but it's so well done too.
They just so easily dispose of him too. They just throw him right out the window.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the reason why they saved that scene to shoot towards the end, because it's so traumatic.
Yeah.
David Patrick Kelly as T-Bird reading John Milton as terrible things are happening to Shelley. It's just
Yeah,
that's his go-to, because he does start quoting that with his demise coming later.
Yes.
That's just how he flashes into, situations of death. But I think at first I didn't like it, but upon further, I guess, reflection, the way they shot those scenes from what apparently was, Shelley's point of view, and then his point of view, and then third person point of view, kind of leads to the chaotic nature of, flashback and memory, I guess.
Oh, okay.
At first it confused me, like, wait, why are we in Shelley's point of view here? And then because it's all over the place. Like, it's jarring to watch unless you take some time, I guess. But I guess that's the nature of traumatic memories. It's jarring.
Mm-hmm.
So
right, yeah.
I'll go with that. But they fly around a lot from different points of view. That's for sure.
Yeah. Another great kind of music video scene is basically him going out. We get the crow flying over the city, and again we're shown, we don't need to be told, that the crow flies around. It picks up on Tintin kind of being somewhere, and that's his first target. And so seeing Eric running across the rooftops, that's another one of those just music video kind of badass moments of
Nine Inch Nails,
the
Dead
Nine
Souls.
Inch Nails. Yeah. There are some beats in there that you can tell are composited miniature with probably someone running around on a blue screen, kind of added in, but for the most part it all holds up.
How he falls off the building, lands, and just starts laughing.
Yeah.
God, it's so great. Because he knows that
Good laugh.
Tintin is on his way out.
Mm-hmm. And I like that when he confronts Tintin, that I like that he's more talkative than like a Batman. Mm-hmm. He gets Tintin to talk about murder, and then that of course starts getting him to talk about Shelley, and then it just angers Eric so much when he just dismisses, some dude, some bitch, and like referring to Shelley that way. It just,
I skanked her pink ass and she loved it.
Oh man, that's so raw, it's that like he gets him to confess, of course, but it's not like it's so unsatisfying because there's no remorse there. It's not like he's not getting any satisfaction from getting him to admit this and everything. It's just he gets egged on by Tintin, and it just makes him. It just fuels his rage.
Yeah,
I don't think remorse is anywhere in this movie.
No.
I think T-Bird has a little bit of remorse at the end.
A little bit, yeah.
And it's funny how, like, I think he's more he's not remorseful about hurting Shelley. It's more like, this is it. No. This is what I'm paying for it now.
Yeah.
But it's funny
he's
how
more remorseful for himself, not for anyone else.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, it caught up on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny how Eric doesn't have really any lines by the time he gets to T-Bird, because what's he gonna even say? Like, he's just tired of questioning. But I don't know. You guys watched Game of Thrones, right? One of the biggest shows in history. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. Never heard of it, but go ahead.
This scene reminded me of Oberyn Martell.
Oh.
Saying, you raped her, you murdered her children, and saying, Ilya Martell, and how Eric is saying, Shelley Webster, you cut her, you raped her. So it's just like screaming their offenses at them right before they're going to kill them.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if they were inspired by The Crow. Or I don't know. I'm not sure what was written by George R. R. Martin. George R. Martin. R. Martin? Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway.
It's like a pirate. RR.
Yeah. One of Tintin's lines that always stuck out to me, and I guess I kind of quote it, not often, but he's like, let me tell you about murder. It's fun and it's easy. But just the it's fun and it's easy line, for some reason, if anyone asks me, I've said it's fun and it's easy to things that, like in my head, I'm quoting this moment, but I don't know why.
Talking about murder?
I'm not talking about murder specifically, but
one of my favorite Tintin lines is just so random, but for some reason, my friends and I were constantly seeing each other, because I think we were like, a couple of us might have had like leather jackets or something, but every once in a while just kind of grab each other's jacket. Leather.
Oh, yeah.
But oh god, the screaming murderer at him, and then the whole thing where he throws the knives, and he's like, "Try harder, try again." How can you not get pumped up by that?
Let's see.
I think Fun Boy's next.
Yeah. Before that, we meet Top Dollar. Played by Michael Wincott. Michael Wincott is one. is one of those guys that when he's on screen, I'm just so drawn to him. Like
It's that
I
voice.
just want to. Yeah, it's the voice. It's the. I don't know. He has this quality about him, and he's kind of the same in a lot of the things I can remember him from. Like he's Guy Gisborne in the Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He's the warden in the Count of Monte Cristo movie that would have come out maybe a couple years after this. He's like the henchman in the Chris O'Donnell Three Musketeers movie.
Yep.
And if you asked me in, Robin, you'll appreciate this. If you asked me in what year did Karate Kid 3 come out? 89?
89, yep.
Okay. So I would have said that Michael Wincott was the bad guy in that movie because
Terry
as a
Silver.
kid, you know, a guy with a ponytail, like long hair, was like, oh yeah, that's the bad guy from Crow. So for the longest time, like Michael Wincott was the bad guy in Karate Kid 3.
Oh, I love that.
But yeah, so he just, I don't know, he has this quality about him, and he's not in a ton of stuff.
No,
but I did see him in season 1 of Westworld. He's like the old ancient cowboy that is in the basement that Jeffrey Rush is working on. Jeffrey Wright. But
He was like my least favorite part of the movie.
really,
I mean, granted, the hair didn't help. I just kept being like, what is going on here? But like, I don't know. I felt like he was just like the character, not the actor, but the character was just bad. It was just one note.
okay,
I was waiting for him to start like twirling a mustache. He was, I don't know, the whole thing about him like thinking about his childhood was kind of cheesy.
okay,
Like talking about like his dad telling him on his birth, what is he, 5 or something, that he was gonna, I don't know. It was just such a horribly put together character, I think, that I was out of it like from the get go. Like,
Okay.
I just did not care from his intro on.
interesting.
wow.
I'm just like, okay, I get it. You got dad issues, and
That's one of my favorite lines. That you
Really?
know, childhood's over the moment you know you're gonna die. Like
Yeah.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I just thought it was over dramatic. I think.
Okay, yeah,
I think
mean,
it was just too much, and it was the intro to the character. I'm like, and granted, 80% of this is probably the hair.
I
For,
don't think I even realized it before until this recent watch that I was just like, so what is his deal? Like he looks like he's just got done crying. And he's just so
you can
sad.
see a tear. You can see a tear, like the stream of the tear on his face.
I just always assumed that they're just majorly messed up, but I think they try to have like some sort of arc with him at the end, because by the end it's like he's telling all his goons that, hey, I created Devil's Night, you know, and now it's all been like they're selling Devil's Night greeting
Commercialized.
cards.
Yeah,
And then at the end, when he's confronted with Eric, he's just like, finally, someone put a smile on my face, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, I get it. That's his arc. Because before I just like dismiss everything he said as just lunacy, which it really is. But I always remember from this scene, Biling's just like, I think we broke her.
yeah,
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I was just out.
These characters are not in the comic. I mean, Top Dollar is actually one of T-Bird's henchmen in the comic, and they just decided that they needed like a bigger bad, I think, and kind of added on to, like just going through T-Bird's gang was going to be so, you know, not much of a big deal. But gosh, add like a witch who can take away the crow, who's figured out the crow's powers, and it's got this weird thing with eyeballs. You know, it makes it even more kind of spookier.
Top Dollar just makes it more Dick Tracy. Like, it's just a horrible name.
I hate the name.
Well, they never mention it though.
No, I had no idea it was Top Dollar until I looked it
Dollar.
up.
Yeah.
I was just like, yep, that tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just, you know, I can't imagine Michael Wincott being like, call me Top Dollar.
Yeah.
One of his henchmen, Tony Todd, the great Tony Todd.
Very, very understated in this movie, I think. Like he's
his right hand guy.
Yeah, Grange is his name, which
Another name
you
you
find
never-
out in the credits.
Didn't
That's
know,
you know.
It makes me think of. I think I'm on the detective side in this movie
Okay.
because he has the line with, "Don't any of your guys have like grown-up names
Right.
or whatever it is?"
See, I
It's
like
like Tintin and all that.
I always loved Eric's line in the pawn shop where he's like, a whole jolly clan, or jolly clan with jolly pirate nicknames, or
Yes.
I always like that. But
Gideon, my second favorite character.
okay,
The great John Polito.
yeah. Polito,
I
yeah.
just love it.
I love him. I've never heard anyone say shit on me before, but that's
I know.
another one.
That's
Like,
another
I've
one.
used
Like-
that. Oh, shit on me.
I'm like, you may not want to do that with Top Dollar and his lady. They might actually do it.
Yeah.
They seem to be into some stuff.
Yeah, that whole thing is great. This how spooky it is. Him entering, reciting the Raven, and how he's just kind of and I don't know. To me, I'm like, this is not a guy that is on Eric's hit list. This is not.
Yeah.
But he, as we find out, he's kind of profiting from all the evil that they're doing. So he does kind of deserve to get knocked around a bit.
So do we think Eric is high? Because he's acting really weird. Like the falling off a building, laughing, quoting the Crow poem from Poe. Like he's acting in a weird way. Like he's not just, vengeful. He's like, I don't know, almost Joker-esque. Like,
yeah.
There's some mania.
I think,
yeah, I love.
I
That
think there's some theatricality in his.
Yeah. Oh, there is
in
some
Eric,
theatricality.
But I mean, like in Eric already, like he is a not a rock star, but he's in a band. He performs.
He's an artist.
There's plenty of moody photos of him and his band.
So he's always kind of like smiling in them, though.
Yeah.
I always think that this is all like this is the Crow's effect on him. This is he is vengeance. He's just kind of not exactly all there.
Yeah,
he's just consumed with it. There's barely anything of Eric left, I think, except when the pain hits him.
Well, and he's unhinged. I mean, there's nothing. I guess if you give someone power and bring them back from the dead, like they don't have to be reserved, especially with the people that he's going after. I mean, when he's talking to Albrecht, he's very measured and very serious. But
it's like if he's around the people he wants, he loses his mind a little bit. I don't. Because it's jarring with the Albrecht scene where he's in his underwear and cat, and how like somber and normal he is.
Yeah.
Compared to hanging out with Fun Boy and his old lady squeezing morphine out her arm. Like he's very theatrical.
Sure.
With the people he's after, and he's a normal dude around Sarah and Albrecht.
Well, but he's also going after
somewhat.
He's also going after people who themselves are very over the edge, anyways.
Yeah.
Like when he's, in the Fun Boy scene. I mean, they're high on morphine. Like he's got to go at an 11 just to, make an impression on them. They're high as hell. So.
There's a big fucking bird over there.
Yeah, I love that. There's a big fucking bird over there.
I still like,
but like just walking
hand shot in that scene.
Yeah, I love that he takes
acts.
time to be like. Love that he takes time to give him a joke. Like what does he say? Jesus walks into a bar and hands the innkeeper 3 nails. Can you put me up for the night?
Very over the top.
Yeah. So I think it's appropriate given like who he's dealing with, because
don't you ever
he's not
fucking die? That's another line.
Like he's bleeding on his sheets, and he's like, "Look what you've done to my sheets."
I think my favorite Fun Boy line is once he's woken back up in the shower and he's dragged out, and he's stabbing him with the morphine things, and he's like, "You're wasting it." I was like, that's his priority. I like it.
Yeah.
He's a man who knows what he wants.
Oh, that's actually that whole scene. They cut out a bit of it which had to do directly with the Skull Cowboy.
Okay.
Because one of the rules that he establishes is that if you care for people, if you help people, that makes you vulnerable. So when he helps Darla,
gotcha.
that makes him vulnerable. Yeah. And I guess there was like a big fight scene between Fun Boy and Eric that got cut because take the Skull Cowboy out. It doesn't make any sense how Eric is suddenly vulnerable.
Right. Okay.
So that's why you don't see him really killing him. It cuts away.
That probably, I think I remember something about that because I know he shows back up later. And it's like Eric goes through the movie, like by the end of it, he's got electrical tape, all over him, like holding it, his shirt together. Yeah. I think there was something with because like Darla picks up a razor blade at a certain point to try to keep Eric away or something like that. And maybe part of that was like you don't see the fight, and that's where he gets like sliced or cut or whatever. So I think some of that it doesn't ruin anything. It's not like later on when you're like, when did he get, why did he put electrical tape all over himself? Like you don't think about it really, but I think there's stuff like that was cut that would have been some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Crow couldn't have stopped by another dumpster for a shirt after. Gotta wear the same one with gaffer tape. That's weird. It did give it kind of a cool look, I guess. At first I was like, why has he got like leather straps all over him? And then I'm like, wait, that's tape.
I like it. I like that it just adds to it by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
It's part of his costume.
Yeah.
It's a comic hero.
So with him taking time to save Darla, or not, to wake up
or to
Darla.
Set her on a path.
Yeah, I like that impacts Sarah in a positive way later. Because it's like he's out for vengeance and revenge and justice and all that. That's what we want in this story. But it's like you kind of have to remember that Eric and Shelley, they're dead. So by doing all this, you're not like saving the living. And he takes time to actually try to make things better for Sarah. So that's the people who are still alive, But I guess that it's interesting that is exactly what the Skull Cowboy was warning him against. So,
Skull Cowboy with his prime directive.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird rule to have in place for a comic where it's usually around saving people.
Right, yeah.
It's a very tricky tightrope.
Yeah.
Because technically, by killing those people, you're saving somebody. There's got to be like statute of limitations or something. I don't know how it works. Because they would have lit like hundreds of fires if they were still alive and killed people.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a weird rule to put in place.
I want to talk about the whole Devil's Night, lighting fires, all this stuff. Like, in terms of Top Dollar and what his plan is, because it's like, he talks about profit, and I guess he's like a real estate tycoon, maybe, because like I get the sense that he's
evicting
having all
people
these
for a reason.
He's evicting people. He's like doing firebombing these condemned buildings, and I guess that the plan after that would be like real estate development. But we see
it's like RoboCop.
No evidence of that. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird that Eric and Shelley's building is being evicted and cleared out and everything, but then a year later it's still there. It's just condemned and it's boarded up, and so I don't know like what is Top Dollar's like. I mean, he doesn't have like a big plan, but it's like, how does setting a bunch of fires lead to profit? Because I don't see any signs of gentrification in this part of Detroit. It's not like there's expansion and growth in other areas. It seems like the entire city is just one big, heap. It's just I'm if I think about it too hard, I don't know where he's profiting.
I thought it was drugs because there's definitely some cocaine in this, but
Definitely that's part of it, yeah.
but yeah, the whole burning things down. I mean, he's got that part down. He just hasn't figured out how to develop it.
But
Or
it
at least
seems
not
like
in
he's
this
making
area.
money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aside from his
maybe...
nightclub operation, I think there's like 20 people in the city. There's literally nobody in the city.
Yeah.
It's like a stray car that randomly tries to hit a girl on a skateboard, and that's about it. And the hot dog guy.
Yeah. I like Mickey, the hot dog guy.
Yeah.
Oh god, this is a big hot dog movie. You start to actually think about, like, how do I like my hot dog? Would I like mustard on the bottom? Interesting. My onions
they
guy?
really get into the they get into the mechanics of building a hot dog. That's for sure.
Yeah. I will say ketchup has no business being near a hot dog.
Oh,
No, I'm
you're missing out.
Team Ketchup.
What's that?
I'm Team Ketchup.
Ugh. Mustard only.
Ugh.
And maybe some onions. That's fine.
Ugh.
They make you fart, Travis. Jeez.
I've heard that, yeah.
We learned that.
I like we kind of touched on it a little bit, but we get the scene with Eric and Albrecht, in his apartment, and it's just a nice, quiet, touching scene between these two, and he's explaining everything that happened with Shelley, and that's where Eric kind of learns that that he was there with her the whole time. And then of course that comes back to help him later. But I also like that Albrecht has been kind of investigating this in the background and trying to figure out, like, is this really Eric somehow back from the dead or whatever. And I like that they don't waste any time with disbelief. He appears at his apartment and it's like, okay, you are someone who I know died, so somehow you're back. And they don't, like I said, they don't waste a bunch of time trying to convince him that he's this undead character. So
Eric literally says, "I don't know what I am."
He was a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What was that, Patrick?
He was a Ghostbuster after all. So that's right in.
Yeah.
Seen some shit.
No, he's yeah. Turn you white. Good stuff. That's a big Twinkie.
I think I like the scene. I think this is the most human Eric acts in this movie. He just kind of sits down and has this conversation with Albrecht, and discusses that's where the whole "nothing is trivial" line comes from.
Yeah.
And that's the whole "you're gonna vanish now," and he's like, I thought I used the front door. I'm sorry, what happened? And he's just like, yeah.
I love that line reading of just
what are you gonna do?
It's a weird reading of the "I thought I'd use your front door" because it's almost like, am I supposed to feel bad for him right now? Like he's just like a sad puppy dog all of a sudden.
I don't know.
It was a very TV moment to me for some reason. It made me think of like a TV drama.
Well, there was a Crow series.
That's true.
Yeah,
the
there
Crow
was.
Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. I remember watching one episode of that, and I don't remember, like, I think they retold this movie in that series, and it's like the one episode I watched, like, Eric Draven is in court because he's being tried for, like, attempted murder of Funboy, I think, like, who's alive and there, like, he hasn't killed everybody yet. So it's like they kind of they stretched the movie out, I think, into a series, if I remember it right.
Yeah.
But it was bizarre.
That always works out.
I never actually watched it. I always read about it because I always thought it looked cheesy,
Yeah.
But I guess they had Skull Co-op going in that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But, I like the setup with we see T-Bird and Skank.
Skank. Yep.
And
Comic relief.
the line, the line "smokes and road beers," like that is another one that I think of, like road beers. You know, I've never. I don't drive around with road beers, but anytime I'm going to get beer, I think smokes and road beers. Be quick.
Oh yeah. Well, back in the day, I have to say I have yelled smokes and road beers going into a convenience store.
Right.
I've also, did a pretty good skank. He's probably still banging away on Darla.
God, Skank.
Oh, so
overacting award there.
So many.
I love that guy.
Skank he's hard to watch in this movie. He's
it's so bad, but
he's
so
like
good at the same time.
He's like Dermot Mulroney in Young Guns. I don't know if you know.
Oh.
Always seems to have like a big chew
God,
in his mouth.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
Another huge line. I don't know why my friends and I kept running this back and forth, but when Eric makes T-Bird drive off and they go by the cops, and the cops my friends and I would always get coffees, and always somebody would be like, I can't even call it cream legally. And then somebody would just be like, immediate. That would just be like a call and answer thing of somebody says like, can't even call it cream legally, and the other person has to go, what in the crap?
I thought that was such a weird line in a rated R movie for a guy to just say, "What the crap?"
It's actually what in the crap? What in the crap? Just for future reference.
Oh, yeah, a lot of there was shit on me. What the crap? There's a lot of scat related humor here. So weird. Yeah, that line just does not fit in this movie to me.
But it's cops. It's not like
what the crap.
He's not it's not one of the maniacal bad guys, the maniacal hero. It's just these regular cops. All of a sudden, the car goes flying by. What in the crap? And then he hits the gas, and the coffee goes all over his car. It's so much fun.
If nothing else, it makes me remember it because it's just a weird thing to hear somebody say. I think.
Yeah.
What the crap? But
I think the T-Bird, this T-Bird and Eric, little segment of the movie, I think is one of my favorite sections. When they get past the car chase part of it, once it's kind of them just one-on-one at the kind of pier when he's taping them all up, and I love the way that T-Bird he just seems annoyed by all of this. Like, this seems like a big inconvenience. Like, it doesn't dawn on him that his life is in danger, or that Eric, is planning to kill him. Like, it's just, he's going on about, what about it? Like, we were clearing that building, and they were trying to fight like eviction and all this stuff, and he's like, what about it? And then I love how once it occurs to him and he takes a good look at Eric, he's like, I know you, man. Like, and once it dawns on him that this is the guy that they killed, he's like, when he starts going on about like, this is the really real world, man, you can't be you. Like, I absolutely love how extreme he goes, like from one extreme to the other, and like, he starts to lose his shit once he realizes like, what's going on here.
Yeah, as one should.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a natural reaction to see somebody murdered, and now they're physically there all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. I mean, that tracks. Everyone else seems to be cool with it, but at least this guy appropriately reacts.
Yeah, because he's the only one that like finds out who is killing them. Of the four, like Tintin, Funboy, T-Bird, and Skank. Skank doesn't really
don't get to see
on,
the end of each of those people.
No,
like Tintin, it's like he's got him pinned down, but you don't get to see him, how he ends up.
Sure.
With all the
I think
alphabetical organs and whatnot, but
they show him later. I think when the
I imagine he tells them each. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah,
we just only get to see it with T-Bird.
It is great how the line that the badass line that he would read to he at least read to Shelley, but I'm sure he it's much like Samuel L. Jackson's in Pulp Fiction reading some biblical verses. how this comes back to him as they're about to. He realizes he's going to die. It's just like abashed the devil stood and felt how awful goodness is. I love that. It's almost like he's like, oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
God.
So I think when I would watch this early on, I thought that was his, you know, do you ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight line? Like that's what he asks all his victims and all that. But I think when you rewatch it and you look at the flashback when they're attacking Shelley, he's holding a book that I assume they find there in her apartment. And that's the first time he ever used that line was with Shelley. And then he's quoting it now because it's still tied to Shelley and Eric. Like I don't like now watching it, I don't think this is his calling card. You know, I don't think he's asking all of his victims this. Maybe since this, but I think it's because maybe she was reading that book and he takes it from her when they show up or something.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how I read it now. But initially, I always thought it was like his go-to line that he always quoted for some reason. So
I have to watch that awful scene again to see if he picks up a book.
Yeah.
But then we get
because he is like reading it out of a book. It's not just a line that he is quoting off the top of his head.
Well, I guess David Patrick Kelly bought his own copy of John Milton's Paradise Lost and kept it with him on set. Maybe he used that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then we get the lighted up crow at the end. So good.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a heck of an artist. All the different mediums like blood, hair, or needles, and lighter fluid.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another power of the crow to be able to draw a crow.
Right.
Any kind of.
It's great.
Very dramatic.
It's great. You know, I would get like one wing small, one wing too big, or one running into.
Yeah.
Oh darn! I ran out of pavement.
The feet would look weird. Like, it'd just be weird.
This crow looks like it's in pain.
Hey, does Skink not get any crow action?
He doesn't. That's the one. Like it doesn't fit with the others. You know, it's kind of like it just feels tacked on. You know.
He's kind of like a hanger-on, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's definitely like idolizes T-Bird the way he goes after him.
Yeah.
And definitely the first to start the fire up chant with T-Bird, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I love him in the end, like when he's like the only one left and he's just drunk and beat to hell, and he's just like, I don't know. I love that whole sequence with him. It's so stupid.
It is odd that T-Bird goes. You think he would be the last one because he's like the ringleader. So it's weird that Skank is actually the last one, but it does give us that, like you were talking about, the stuff with Skank in there in Top Dollar's office or whatever his room, this lair, and watching him just going nuts about like trying to describe what happened. And I love the line about maybe we should just videotape this and play it back in slow motion.
Yeah, because he's like all over the place.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna kill my ass next.
I want to know what part of Detroit he's from, because he definitely sounds like he's from a little further south.
Yeah.
The Louisiana quarter of.
Yeah.
He sounds like a prospector.
Kind of, yeah.
That's how I picture it. Is like he's like a prospector in the Old West. Yeah. He's also got that line with the table party about being a worm on a big fucking hook or whatever. It's a good line. I mean, it's an apt analogy.
It's a real good line. I love that he blurts it out so quickly. You know, because what does Top Dollar say is like, how do you feel or something like that. I just love that it just comes to him that quickly. He just blurts it out.
Yeah, he's trying to get Top Dollar's trying to get everybody fired up about, you know, what to do now with Devil's Night. And you know, like, and he even says like, are we having fun or what? Yeah. How do you feel? I feel like a little worm on a big fucking hook.
I like Top Dollar's plan is just to make bigger fire.
Yeah.
It's like,
And somehow
I
get
don't-
paid.
yeah. I don't, his whole arc just is so stupid to me.
I think, but I think at that time, like he's kind of like done with Devil's Night, and I think he's more focused on bringing down the Crow, and maybe getting his powers. I mean, especially Micah Biling.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. The other thing in this scene where he's talking about Devil's Night, and all of a sudden Micah goes, "I like the pretty lights," and all the criminals are laughing about it, and she's just like frowning.
Yeah.
I wasn't making a joke.
I thought there was more to this. I think, like, I must have misremembered. I thought like she did something with the crow's eye, but like I just totally forgot that it really went nowhere with her plan and
Well,
catching
she
the crow.
tries at the end, but
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the crow actually gets her eyes, but
yeah.
Because it's kind of late. It's kind of late in the process when they realize that the crow is tied to him. Because it's after the shootout. It's once they actually encounter him and they hightail it out of there, and they're in the car later, and she's talking about the crow, his powers come from the crow and all that. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, no, he's not obsessed about the crow just yet. His speech is saying like greed is for amateurs, disorder, chaos, anarchy. Now that's fun. So he's done profiting, and that's when all the other guys are like, "Hey, so are we gonna still sell drugs or something?" I forget, but
something about you don't want us to do light my fire time.
Yeah, that's right. Like, light my fire time.
I want you to light a fire so goddamn big the gods will notice us again.
Yeah, and that's the grand plan.
Yeah.
Burn it all.
Because
it's greed is not making him happy. He wants to get a smile on his face. He wants that chaos and anarchy. That's what got him excited to begin with, and it all makes sense.
I think this movie just needed a better villain. Like
maybe I'd say
the villain. Like there needed to be like more to it. Like I would have liked him going after the power of the crow more, whereas it's just sort of shoehorned in.
Okay, yeah.
Like in the last 5 minutes. Like
I get that.
Because otherwise it's just he wanted to light fires and take people's eyes, I guess. But that was more his sister.
That was her thing, yeah.
I mean, he'd waft in the eyeball smoke and do a shot of blow, but that's about it.
Like I said, I love Michael Wincott as this guy in this movie, but I do wish he had a better character, I suppose.
It kind of reminds me of a little bit of a Superman Lex Luthor, especially with the real estate. He's all into doing crime to get some sort of real estate profit, and then Superman enters the picture, and now he's all about wiping Superman out. So then he becomes the big villain.
At least his plan makes sense, make some coastal, land for development.
It's the one thing they're not making anymore of.
Who wrote Otisburg?
Oh, God.
Otisburg.
I guess that's Otisburg. The skank of...
Yeah. Miss Tessbacher got a place, just a little tiny place. I love that scene.
But yeah, things escalate quickly.
Yeah. I would say the shootout in the fight kind of sequence is one of my least favorite parts of the movie. I think it just feels overdone. Like I don't think this movie needs this level of it's not an action movie really, I know
I like
Brandon
the stalking, I think, better.
Yeah, I know Brandon Lee had started to make a name for himself with stuff like Showdown in Little Tokyo and Rapid Fire, and those were kind of like, martial art gun movies, kind of.
Mm-hmm. I only knew Rapid Fire. I think.
Yeah, I just don't think this one needed that stuff. But
I just wrote, how much tape does this guy need? Because I think he got shot at least, 50 times. Conservatively.
I don't know.
It's like Swiss cheese.
I think I love it because it amps everything up. We got My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult blaring in the background, and
Okay.
all these muzzle flashes and him flipping around and jumping and grabbing people and taking them down, and it's so like disorienting. I don't know. I get kind of again fired up about that because it's just like, oh man. And then when he's just like, he grabs a sword, he just goes, "You're all going to die." I mean, how can you not just be like, yeah?
I get that, but it's like he says that after he's killed almost everybody.
It's just reminding the rest of them. That's
Yeah. So this is where Skank just goes kind of unceremoniously tossed out the window, and like we talked about a little bit before, doesn't get the crow symbol kind of tie-in with his death. Just goes out a window and lands on a cop car. So I think
he
that's
doesn't have the time.
no, there's no
yeah,
time.
There's a lot
right.
going on.
Yeah.
Unless all the bodies like he dropped out, form the shape of a crow. I don't think he's got anything.
I'm not
Right.
dead, or I'm not Skank. Skank's dead. That's Skank over there.
Oh god.
Also, did you notice that when Skank hit the cop car, one of the cops went, "What in the crap?"
How does he?
It really did.
That's funny.
Oh Lord.
But it's one thing I like about saving Skank for last, and it just being, he's the last of the four. And once he's dead, then Eric starts to get chased by the cops and gets saved by Albrecht. And you get the reappearance. You get the reappearance of the big fake mustache on Albrecht
that's
as he's driving around.
That's because he's been suspended. That's his suspension mustache.
Yeah, right. But again, it's like you never see Eric's face in that car when he's driving away from the scene, so I don't think that that's Brandon Lee. But I like that this is where it establishes that once Skank is dead, his mission is complete in theory, and his powers start to fade. So he's no longer like he heals from all the bullet holes that he got in the fight in the shootout. But when he's being chased by the cops, it's like it takes a little bit of a toll on him. Like he's not at peak performance that's why he needs the pickup from Albrecht. He needs to be saved. So I like the.
I love how he tap dances away though when they say "don't move." Well, shit. Yeah. He's like, da-da-da-da.
That's all she wrote.
I had to rewind that. I was like, wait, did he just, hello my baby, hello my darling out the building there? Like,
Michigan
like,
J. Crow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's this is a stupid thing to bring up, but I got to because it's in my head now. When you said he got suspended, I just pictured turning your badge, your gun, and your mustache.
Maybe that's why he needed the fake one. Yeah, because he
Who knows how much time has passed? I mean, the Crow could have taken a week off and stuff.
Right.
Because I always, I let my whiskers come in when I'm not working or whatever, or not in public. But
oh yeah, I got a ZZ Top beard. I've been in quarantine so long.
Yeah.
I did kind of wonder the rules of the power, because technically, is it done if the person that ordered them to do what they did, like you get into that, like how did the rules apply? Is it just the people that physically did what they did? Like, does it matter who made them do it or ordered them to do it?
Well, I think that's why they set up that now that Top Dollar, after Micah, after they interacted with the Crow, now they understand like, okay, this really is some kind of supernatural thing. So we get the Crow, we can get that power, and that of course leads into them taking Sarah and the standoff in the church. And
there's one little scene here that I love too. I get the feeling like Eric is now being just drawn back to his grave.
Yes.
So, and then he's just walking down the street, and there's this great slow motion of trick or treaters coming out and running around him, and he's just like laughing about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't. It might not have been something that was needed, but I don't know. I don't even know what it was trying to get at it, but it was nice. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I thought he was like happy to see kids out or something. Like, I don't know.
It's jarring to see in this town people let their kids go out at night.
Yeah, that's right.
On Hell Night.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. I get a little confused, like counting the daytime into nighttime transitions in this one. I feel like this is Halloween.
Well, he said like something about the city should be on fire now.
That's
like,
true. Yeah, it's like
depressed.
yeah. But let's see.
I mean, my town, we trick or treat the day before Halloween, so maybe that's the same.
What kind of weird town do you live in?
Vermont.
Sorry. What? Good Lord, you guys just don't follow any rules. Just rebels. Oh Lord.
Blame Bernie.
What, do you like go to doors and give people that live there candy? Like, what goes on there? So confused. Up is down, left is right. I don't know.
Cats and dogs living together.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was kind of funny that this movie, now that I saw that tagline about Batman, has an ending just like Batman.
Oh yeah.
Church, bad guy falling from a great height. I mean,
how many?
That is weird.
How many of these superhero movies, some bad guy falls from great height and dies?
Oh yeah.
It's just weird. They're both at a church. It's both.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. It is weird.
And I do like the shootout with them in the church. I think that one works pretty well with Albrecht coming in for the rescue. Because I honestly, this time watching it, I forgot that Albrecht comes in for the rescue.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I was like, I know that a shootout happens, but I cannot remember. Like, it didn't dawn on me that that's when Albrecht shows back up. I kept thinking, like, what prompts Albrecht to even be here? You know,
It's a very quick line.
Yeah,
I was there to pay my respect.
Yeah,
just happened to be by. Oh God, you missed one of the best lines in the movie, though.
Oh,
car, bang, fuck, I'm dead.
I like the follow up to that is like, for a ghost you bleed just fine.
Yep. Yeah. Oh God, when he shoots him and Eric just goes, oh fuck, and falls over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
was my favorite line.
I was starting to talk a minute ago. I couldn't remember where I was going, but we were talking about like he's killed the 4, and so technically his mission I think is accomplished, you know, because I do think it is about those 4 because they had a physical hand in killing Shelley. So, you know, while Top Dollar gave the order to clear the building and he is ultimately responsible, like he's not included in the like Eric doesn't get to keep the powers to kill him. And I think that goes back to what we were talking about with the Skull Cowboy, because I know that there's a deleted scene with him, like the Skull Cowboy is standing on the church steps, kind of blocking Eric as he's about to go in, and that's when he warns him, like, if you do this, if you try to save, Sarah, save someone living, you'll do it without the powers. You're going in this just as a mortal, or whatever, so you can be killed basically. So it's kind of a standoff of like, Eric can't back down. He can't just let Sarah get kidnapped or whatever. He has to go in to try and save her and everything. So
I watched that deleted scene too. Do you have a feeling that they were going to ADR Michael Berryman because he was very
yes. Yeah, definitely wearing a rubber mask, and his lines are all muffled.
I think I like the crow aspect better. Where they
I do too.
The crow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think it works without all that. I think you kind of understand that his mission's complete, and that's why he's laying at the grave to begin with. Like he was planning on that's when he was gonna go back. But then Sarah being taken, of course, he's still restless basically at that point. Like, he can't just leave it at that.
Right. And I never even thought of, I mean, probably not until like later viewings, that him being done with his mission might make him vulnerable, as opposed to I always originally just thought, oh, they shot the crow, so therefore now he's vulnerable.
Right.
And the crow's wounded, so now he can be hurt.
Yeah, I think it kind of all ties in together.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's because they wound the crow, and so Eric is now more vulnerable for sure. I think you can have one or the other. I think it can be one, it can be the other, it can be both.
The crow's tough. Took
Yeah.
a snipe.
Yeah,
And
it's a big fucking bird.
what is does the crow get? Is the crow vulnerable because it intervenes now? Because Micah sure gets what she's deserved.
Oh, yeah.
Sweet irony.
I feel like it ramps up to this rooftop sword fight that in the rain, at night on top of this church. Like, it feels like it's cliche, but I don't know if it is. I don't know why that feels cliche, because I can't remember really seeing this scene, in other things, really. I mean, but it just feels like it's an homage to something, or it's
probably the sword fighting aspect.
Maybe
with the hair, I'm completely thinking Highlander.
That's
with the lightning.
That was in my notes.
Yeah.
That was in my notes too. That, like, at this time I was watching a lot of that Highlander TV show, and the movie every now and again. But it does kind of feel like that. But I still like it. I love that it comes down to Top Dollar and him. Like, he's just talking to Eric as he's about to kill him, and I love that Top Dollar is like, sorry about what happened to you and your girlfriend, and he even calls him friend. Like, for some reason, I love that casual usage of friend to someone who you've ruined their life, and that's part of what I just love about Michael Wincott playing this character.
Oh, it reminds me of a coworker of mine that kind of drops work on my desk and is like, "Here you go, pal." I'm like, "Yeah, pal." Up yours, Chief. But yeah, that's where he's like, "You have put a smile on my face,"
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the other cliche you're sensing.
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying the other cliche to this is just, the
the smile on my
classic
face.
villain monologue. Like, when he should have won, he throws his sword away and does his little spiel. I don't know. If I had a supernatural being wounded, I probably wouldn't just be so nonchalant, but I guess that's why I'm not a supervillain.
That's the one reason.
I think he's just so used to having the upper hand that it doesn't scare him.
Yeah.
I get that, but you just saw a dude eat like 50 bullets. Like, even with the crow got away. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, for the drama of it. But I don't know. I don't know. It's like anytime there's a monologue thing like that, it takes me out of a movie, much like 555. Like, I don't know why. It's just, I've seen it so much that it just, I'm watching a movie. Like, I just lose all, like, involvement with it for some reason.
Patrick, I hate to break it to you, but we do a podcast about comic book movies.
I know.
And, quite often they end with a villain monologuing. So
it was Bond that did this to me.
Right.
Like, the Bond movies ruined it for me. I was fine up until then. And now I've seen it so often, it's just beaten into my head. It just takes me out of the movie every time.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, damn it.
I love that Albrecht being with Shelley is what, saves it for Eric. Like, the 30 hours of pain I love how that is visualized. You know, he's got his hands on Top Dollar's face, and then like it intensifies, and then like blood starts shooting out of his nose and everything. Like it just, I love how visceral it is, and just the 30 hours of pain all at once is a perfect justice for Top Dollar here.
Yeah, it's kind of an excessive end with the gargoyle barfing his blood out.
Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
I was like, oh, okay, we're going there.
Why not? That's what he gets for kissing his sister earlier.
That's right. This has all been a PSA on the evils of incest. Right.
Yep. Game of Thrones in this movie.
Yep.
Oh, one thing I felt was kind of made up, ridiculous, not believable. As an ex-smoker, I got to say, when Eric gives Albrecht a cigarette and he's just kind of like, bleh, and he spits it out, and he's like, "I'm quitting as of now." It's like, no smoker would do that. They'd be like, yeah, I'll quit. I'll start quitting tomorrow. And that's what made me theorize, like, oh man, that must have been the final thing, source of power that the Crow gives out, much like he did with Darla. He handed Albrecht a cigarette, and that was the cigarette that was going to make him be like, this is gross.
Oh, nice.
Saved one more person.
Yep.
Yep. He slobbered his crow cooties all over it and gave it to him. And
this tastes like death.
It didn't taste as good. Yeah.
Right.
And then we get a touching scene with Sarah and Albrecht.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's like her adopted dad or grandpa or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that kind of vibe.
I'm almost surprised it doesn't end with, like, if they didn't have the scene where Darla gets turned into a good person again, like, you could almost buy that Albrecht would adopt Sarah. You know, it almost has that type of vibe.
Yeah, because we get a little background about how he lost his wife.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, being a cop and being obsessed with cases and stuff. And
right.
So this would kind of put them together at the end.
Mm-hmm. I do love that it ends with we see Shelley, you know, and this is kind of like ties into what we were talking about at the beginning about the angel aspect of it, you know, because I do feel like that's what they're showing us, is that now that she has been avenged, like her soul is no longer restless, and she, I guess the way I would interpret this is like, she hasn't been, I don't know, up in heaven or whatever this entire time. Like, she's been as restless as he is, and she's taking him like, okay, now we can both go together, because you've freed our souls, basically.
Yeah, see, I always thought of it
that's how I interpret it.
I always thought of it as her coming down from heaven and getting him, because now he can rest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of her even as an angel.
Yeah, I don't know.
She comes out of the light, she's been there.
Yeah,
I don't know, but if anyone deserved to be the Crow, it was her.
Right.
She's the one that went through it all. I mean,
yeah.
He just came in, got stabbed, and thrown out a window.
Yeah.
He got like 10 minutes. She got God knows how long.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of that, like, you have to remember that the inspiration for James Obar to write The Crow was him losing his fiancée, and like, Robin said, the story about the young couple that he heard about being murdered. So.
I believe I think in the comics, and maybe even in the original script, maybe just in the comics, Eric is thrown out the window, and Shelley is raped and killed, and it's Eric that gets put on life support for a long time, and and then comes back from the dead. But he's the one that's fighting for his life in the hospital, as if he can't rest.
Right. I think I like it better that she's the one that, not that I like it that she goes through 30 hours of surgery, trying to save her life, but I think it works in the movie better that pain that she went through saves him.
Right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. That's the Crow.
That is the Crow.
Yay! I like that it opens up. The movie opens up with the word, just the name Brandon Lee, and then it says the Crow. And at the end of the movie, it ends with for Brandon and Eliza, who was his fiance.
Who I read, I guess James Obar felt a lot of guilt because it seems like he was kind of around production. He actually even had a cameo in the scene where Albrecht meets Eric for the first time, and the looters are like taking stuff from Gideon's pawn shop. Mm-hmm. Like he's the guy you see carrying a TV away. So he got to know Brandon a little bit, and I guess the two became kind of friends. And apparently James Obar felt a lot of guilt about having just written the story in the beginning, and then like, he felt guilty that that's what led to Brandon Lee's death, was that he wrote this story. So
crazy.
I guess Eliza Hutton, who was Brandon Lee's fiance, and they were set to get married a few weeks, after this. Like she's the one that helped James Obar kind of get through that grief and that guilt, and made sure that he wasn't carrying that around.
Wow.
So
it was a very weird. It's the one time I think that the story of making the movie is just overshadows the actual movie.
Mm-hmm.
At least in my head, it's more about like how we got the movie and that journey than the movie itself. I wonder if the movie would have been as popular without all that extra baggage with it.
I had the exact same question about this, and I think it's still a good movie, regardless of the fact that Brandon Lee died while making it. I do think it definitely adds to the tragic nature of the story itself. Really the two go together now. They're so it's such a part of this movie is the death of Brandon but I do think we would still be talking favorably about this movie had Brandon Lee not died.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's impossible to say, but I think it'd still be. I think the movie stands on its own two legs enough without all that.
I guess, like I said, I've not watched this in over a decade. I wonder if it would have just been forgotten to time.
Possibly.
It kind of is.
Yeah,
because I never hear anyone talk about it. Really,
it's true.
Yeah, but I think when people do talk about it, it's well revered.
Mm-hmm.
I never hear a bad thing about the sequels are another thing.
I hate the fact that they made sequels. This should have just been a one-off. And especially with Brandon Lee dying, it should have just been a one-off. There's no reason to. How could none of those sequels could repeat the greatness of this movie? I mean, I think the best thing about the first sequel is the soundtrack. They tried to kind of duplicate making a good soundtrack. We got a good Courtney Love doing Gold Dust Woman on that soundtrack. And there was the other one with Edward Furlong.
That's the fourth one.
Yeah. And David Boreanaz, who I love in Angel, playing the bad guy in that movie is probably the only thing that makes me go, oh, kind of like that part of it. But I never watched the series. But yeah, it's just why it's such what you just kind of doing the same thing over again. It's just a different tragedy.
Right.
Oh, and also they Top Dollar Fun Boy. The character of Fun Boy was based on Iggy Pop, who they were trying to get to play Fun Boy. Imagine that.
I could see
and
that.
then they brought Iggy Pop in to play a similar character in City of Angels. So
heck of a ride.
Yeah.
And I love revenge thrillers too, so this checks all boxes for me. I love it. Great soundtrack, awesome action, revenge thriller, kind of comic booky. So.
And it's darker than the Bat. So
it is darker than the Bat.
It has that going for it.
Crazy.
Should we go around and share our most villainous and most heroic moments?
Sure.
I think we normally we'll start with Villainous. So
This planet, these people, they are nothing to me. You were made to be ruled. The universe's power! Pure, unstoppable power!
Come to me, son of Jor-El! Kneel before Zod!
And I am that force! I am that power! In the end, you will always kneel. Kneel before your master!
it's a good place to start. Anyone have a?
There's a pretty obvious one.
There's a pretty obvious one.
The gang rape and double murder, I would say, is the most villainous moment in this movie.
Huh? I'm gonna fight you on that one.
Okay,
Rob.
go ahead.
No, I it's the obvious, clear.
It's when Skank steals road beers.
That's right. Yeah,
Shoplifting.
he ate those potato chips while shopping. What a dick! I don't think he paid for those chips either.
I was gonna go with Sarah's reckless skateboarding in the streets, but no, the chips make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Hers was more of a nuisance.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest no-brainer.
Yeah.
Probably. I guess from a theatrical point of view, I'd say the eyeball scene with brother and sister.
Okay.
It's just a very villainous kind of moment. Like, look
Yeah,
how bad we
yeah.
are. We smoke
Right.
eyeballs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Don't get me wrong; it's super cheesy, but it's definitely like
Do they?
showing that there's something wrong with these people.
They just kind of light it and then they breathe in the vapors. They don't exactly
Yeah.
eat the eyeball. Okay.
Yeah, they just breathe it in, and he does a line of coke and
Gross.
blows out the smoke. It's like a cannonball. I don't quite get it. It always makes me think of Caddyshack with Bill Murray and Chevy Chase in the Caddyshack or the shed. But yeah, yeah. There's not much more villainous than what we've
Yeah.
discussed. I don't think.
Yeah. How about heroic?
I believe there's a hero in all of us
I just finally know what I have to do.
that keeps us honest,
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
gives us strength,
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
Oh, I think it's saving Darla.
Really, I had the same thought, and I thought clearly it's the 30 hours of pain and Albrecht being there, but when I was watching it, I thought saving Darla is the one time in this movie, like I mentioned earlier, like he goes out of his way to save a real person.
Right.
He's not. This has nothing to do with
Yeah.
vengeance and revenge. This is actually saving Sarah
Yep.
in a way. It's saving Darla at the same time. So I'm.
That's the tricky part. Is he's vengeance. He's not heroic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty selfish in a sense, but yeah. I think that's why with Albrecht,
Okay.
like showing
Oh,
up
yeah.
and
okay.
saving the day, and then technically, giving those memories to him.
Yeah.
In a weird way, that being heroic. So that was the only other one I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
Was Albrecht, because that's a hero moment.
Sure. Yeah.
Randomly showing up to save a crow
Yeah.
and runner up to his mustache. R.I.P.
Right. Shall we rate this thing?
Oh, yeah.
Right, I'll get mine out of the way,
ahead.
I think, because everyone else is going to just dump on me. Or wait, shit on me? What does he say?
Shit
Shit
on
on
me.
Yeah. I was like, wait, is it crap on me? No, that was the other.
Yeah.
That was a cop. Never mind.
What the crap?
Okay. But yeah, I gotta go with like a 3.5.
Okay.
I just the villain just ruined it. Like I wanted a better villain.
Okay.
Like Top Dollar, as much as I hate to say his name. He wasn't really in the movie much. I mean, I know he wasn't the focus of his vengeance, but the 4 guys he gets vengeance on. T-Bird, I think, is the only satisfying one.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are done off camera. Skank is just unceremoniously thrown out a window. It's like didn't even get a reaction out of the crow. Like he just chucked him. Like it didn't feel satisfying when Tintin bit it because it was just like off camera, I think, or it was so quick. Like, and then Fun Boy was fairly quick as well. He was passed out half the time, like, and drugged up to no end. So I think if the vengeance was more satisfying and the leader of the villains wasn't more than just light fires kind of guy, I don't know. I think it could have been a lot. I think it could have been a lot better. But
it's interesting because when we were wrapping up our Mask of the Phantasm episode, and we, of course, said we were doing The Crow next. You said you're like, oh, I love this movie, and I was really interested. Like, I was wondering.
Was not what I remembered.
I was surprised to hear you say that you love this movie. I thought you would have seen this movie a few times and never really thought much about it. So I was really surprised then to hear you say that you loved it. But I'm not surprised that while rewatching it, maybe it didn't live up to, maybe
it wasn't what I remembered as far as the ending. I had this vision of her eating the crow's eyeball, and like I thought there was more to getting the power.
Okay.
Like I thought that led somewhere more than just the bird pecking her eyes out and getting sniped. So in my head, I've confused the other iterations of the crow, and that was my problem. But I thought there was more to that than what we had in the movie.
Okay.
So it came down to me just misremembering the end of this movie.
Yeah.
So I think I have a better version in my head than what was actually in real life.
That happens.
Yeah. Because, it's been at least 10 years since I've seen it, but I saw it, like, I don't know, a lot when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Not so much after that, here and there, but, yeah. It was definitely one of those Mandela effects.
Okay, yeah.
Where you thought you had it figured out and find out otherwise.
Right.
But, yeah, 3.5. I mean, it's all right, but I think it could have been a lot better.
I was struggling between a 4 and a 4.5, and but I think I think this movie does hold up on its own, and it's a movie that is full of nostalgia for me. I watched this movie so much as a kid and as a young teen and all that. But again, just kind of moved away from it, in later years and stuff. But it is one that I do think holds up. I almost wish that I had watched this, I don't know, a few months ago, and that it was because I had a really hard time watching this because I just wanted to watch it. I had a hard time watching it critically and having to pause and take notes, and it's such a dark movie, and we are in the year that we're in, and personally there's been a lot of
that plays a role.
Personally, there's been a lot of family medical stuff that is weighing on my mind. So watching this movie I was distracted, and I really honestly had a hard time watching this movie. As much as I love this movie, I was not looking forward to trying to watch it critically, I should say.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So yeah, I don't know. It was a hard time watching this one this time, but I still I love the performance of Brandon Lee. I think he does a great job. I think there are several actors in the movie who, maybe recast, maybe you'd get a better performance. Darla, Skank. I think that they are some of the lower performances, but and I guess another critical thing would be everyone in this movie is so arch, whatever characteristics we see there, it's ramped up to 11. Just, like you said, Top Dollar is just mustache twirling evil for evil's sake, and everyone is just kind of like, if they're bad, they're super bad. If they're good, they're super wholesome. But I still think it for those few faults, I think it works really well. So yeah, I'm at a 4.5. I've talked myself into giving it the extra little bump.
As for me, I mean, pretty obvious. It's going to be a 5 out of 5.
Okay.
I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. I don't see flaws in it. I just enjoy it way too much. Yeah, I can totally understand. This is a dark and sometimes pretty sad movie to get into, and so you can't. Sometimes watching it and taking your time with it might be a little hard. But yeah, there's that. So it's that aspect that I kind of dig. I love watching kind of sad movies and being in my feelings. But I love that it's like he's sad, but he's also just beating the crap out of everybody around him. So, I love a revenge movie. It might be a little repetitive that these guys, like each one of them, just really they have no chance against him. They're not going to win,
right?
Yeah. But what they did was so vile that you just don't care. Like, yeah, beat him into the ground, humiliate him. I would totally be into doing a minute by minute podcast on this movie. For sure.
Yeah.
There is a Crow Minute Twitter account out there that was last updated in July of 2019, and I kind of want to like tweet them and be like, "Hey guys, can you get moving on that? Because I want a guest."
Yeah. I definitely reached out to them when they first made their presence known, and it was like, I need to be on this show, so let me know. And then I don't know if they've just, maybe they're still working on it, but I think they've it's been quiet, all quiet on that front. Right. So I hope this one gets done, but this is one that I would also consider like wanting to do. But
for sure, I would want nothing to do. I would do like I did Fright Night Minute when I first got into the minute by minute thing, and I love the original, and then we did like special episodes on all the other Fright Night things. Just one episode, and we were definitely not going to do a minute by minute podcast. And that would probably be the same with The Crow.
Right.
But I love this movie, and man, I got so I just kind of like feel so sad of what we lost when Brandon Lee died. I ended up watching Rapid Fire last night too, just because I was like, oh man, that's such potential, But well.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You're talking about watching this at this time of the year. Even I was watching this on my laptop and taking notes while the rest of my family was watching Elf on the big screen.
Oh
wow, man!
So
that's got the mood in that room had to be something.
Yeah. I'm like, victims, aren't we all? And meanwhile, it's like la 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 la.
I just picture your family sitting in the light, you over in the dark corner of the room, brooding.
Seriously. Wrapping duct tape around my fingers and or electric tape.
Wow.
Good
but love this movie. Thank you so much for having me on to talk about it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
and I get it because there's a reason there's unfortunately so many Crow movies. There's quite a following.
Yeah,
so I totally get it.
I actually like. I don't remember anything about the second one. Maybe one or two little. I know that Sarah is played by Mia Sarah.
Mia Kirshner, actually.
There you go.
2000s actresses that I had such a major crush on.
That's right. But I know she's playing Sarah again.
Yeah.
So I like that has that connection. And then the third one, I actually like. I've seen it. It was like almost I think a straight to DVD movie that I actually liked. The thing I like about that one is that it's like he comes back. He was on death row for killing his girlfriend, and he comes back and has to clear his name because he was framed by like a bunch of cops that killed this girl for some reason or another and has to clear his name while taking revenge. So I actually like the third one a little bit. I've never seen
like a twisted Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I've never seen the fourth one. So yeah.
The fourth one, Edward Furlong, Tara Reid.
Right. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Cronado.
I think that's about it. Robin, why don't you let everyone know where they can find all your stuff?
Yeah, I do several podcasts. I've done Fright Night Minute, as I mentioned before. The other Minute by Minute podcast that I do that I'm deep into is Karate Kid Minute. I'm loving going through those movies. Still in the first one, of course, but plan on doing minute by minute of every movie except for the remake that shall not be named, because they just decided to call it the same name as the original movie for some reason, and I just hate that trend so much. So yeah, you can find that. It's Karate Kid Minute. I also got a superhero people might enjoy. We're doing Superman and Lois TV talk. I do that with my friends. It's kind of, we got hit with the COVID-19, so all the production and everything got delayed. So we kind of went on hiatus, and probably going to start picking it up in the next month or so.
Okay.
But yep, that's pretty much it.
Well, cool. Yeah, thanks for joining us on this one.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm glad that you eagerly wanted to talk about this one, and I'm for good reason. You're a big fan of the movie, so yeah. Well, Patrick,
what are we? Next movie, the second one in the trilogy of movies starting with the word "the." We have The Shadow.
Oh, The Shadow.
With, Alec Baldwin and his mysterious face. And
I don't
lit
even
up
remember
eyes.
that movie.
I've seen it once.
Yeah, that's literally all I remember is lighting on his eyes.
Yeah.
And he had a big coat that covered the rest of his face.
I feel like The Shadow is one of those that it should have come out in like 1990 alongside Dick Tracy. So I feel like it's going to feel very dated,
It's a pulp.
Yes, yeah. I think it's going to feel like, really? We're still trying to make this movie in 94? But that'll be interesting.
We'll see.
Yeah. No, maybe it's... I don't remember much about it, so I'm interested to check it out soon.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I want to get a count of how many people say that to us at the end of these episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to watch RoboCop 3. Oh, sorry.
Ooh, sorry. All right. Well, that should do it for this one. And until next time, stay safe out there, citizens.
If the people we love are stolen from us, the way to have them live on is to never stop loving them. Buildings burn, people die, but real love is forever.
Who knows what mysteries wait in the darkness? Who knows what power lies beneath the mind?
Someone's coming.
Who knows what terrors prowl in the underworld? The Shadow knows. An ancient evil returns.
Oh my God.
And the only hope is...
Lamont Cranston.
There is one face he shows the world, and the other he hides in shadow.
I do what I do to fight back the evil inside me, but some part of it is still there.
A mysterious woman shares his powers.
I've always had this feeling that there was this man out there just waiting for me.
And a secret army is at his command.
Report.
Police investigation of murder. Agent advises inquiry.
Extra, extra! Madman threats to blow the city sky high!
You are a barbarian.
With Obar, inside you beats a heart of darkness.
I guess you call it an implosive, explosive submolecular device.
Or an atomic bomb.
Hey, that's catchy.
Join me. I know who you really are.
Alec Baldwin.
You
want to see into my eyes.
I'm not afraid of you.
John Lone.
Find him and kill him.
Penelope Ann Miller. And Tim Curry. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Find the show on Facebook and Twitter at Real Comic Heroes. All music and audio are the property of their respective creators.